What's up, DCUO? A long time no see. You know, I ain't been on freaking DCU in like a year. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I just came back yesterday. I wouldn't really say came back. Just more or less just dropping by to check on the game. I'm really curious about this new update that they're talking about, the stats revamp and the whole changing of the UI. It's basically something that we've been talking about and looking forward to for the last 3 years almost. I needed to change it to make skill points more valuable and more essential to reward those players, those veteran players especially, that did take the time out to go farm those skill points. So it's good that they're finally doing that. Just took them way too long though. um but can it stop the game from dying? No. But will it slow the bleeding? Give it another year or two in its lifespan, maybe. Depending on how thorough the adjustment is and what they do. So, anyways, yeah. What's up, people? I want to thank I had some ex-league members and some old friends and even some of my subscribers, whatever. They hit me up when I came back to the game. Some warm welcomings back. Thank y'all for that. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, it's probably just temporary. I'm gonna stop by as a casual player, more or less a PVE player. Maybe because PvP, nobody even duels in PvP gear anymore. Everybody fights in PvE gear. But yeah, I have noticed some things about the game that's changed since I've been gone. Of course, a lot. well, Mostly PVE wise. PvP wise, it does seem like they did sort of balance a little bit. The DPS burn is still insanely high, but I did find that you're able to heal back more health than you were able to before. So I do like that they did that change. Um, let's see what I want to talk about. I just want to do a really brief 7-minute video or something like that, whatever. Basically talking about this next update. So, to my knowledge, the most recent update that they dropped was update 66. So, hopefully, this UI change and the stats revamp change drops in 67. More than likely, it'll be 67 or 68. Game update 68 at the latest. If all these things don't test server now, my guess is they should hit live in like early January. If they push it back, it'll be February at the latest. They've got a lot of promising points in there. They have I've listened to Meps and what's that girl's name with the Nerd of Prey, whatever, and they were talking about some stuff that we've basically been talking about for like the longest period. The villains, the YouTubers, the ones that used to play back when I used to play like back in the day. I don't know if they still play, but like Godman and Ventus. He was on the hero side, of course, and I think even Orbit, hinted on this a couple times, but they needed to do something because basically they had this huge aspect of the game, which was skill points was in the game, but there was no need to farm them because PvP wise, you can have 60 skill points in two shot. Press two buttons literally, or just to complete a weapon mastery and clip that with the power, and you could one shot somebody that had 220 skill points. There was no need to farm skill points. PvE wise, your CR, the higher your CR got, the more damage and healing and power back you was able to give out as a troll, and the more damage mitigation you can sustain while it's a tank. That was based off of CR. So skill points really played no role in DCUO whatsoever. When you put something as essential as skill points or another part of grinding, or another, what's what I'm looking for, another type of progression in the game other than level. Like, you know, you have your level. Once you cap out level at 30, then it's your CR. Your progression is your CR steadily climbing, and you're climbing through the tier ranks to get to tier 1, tier 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. You have skill points as that additional, you know, that added essential form of progression. You have to utilize that. You can't have skill points or another form of progression in the game and not utilize it, because then it's wasted. It's like, okay, the only thing you have to worry about is CR. So people never really had to farm skill points before. So I see a lot of good and bad with this. The bad is mainly going to be since DC has neglected the half of its game's population, the whole PvP side, a largely the villain side too, and they've neglected these people, and they lost a lot of veterans, unfortunately. A lot of them, you know, never really quit the game, just take long periods of breaks and then just come back. There's a lot of people that aren't coming back, like ever. They've moved on, they've deleted and uninstalled the game, and they can care less about DCUO. So, but I was like a middle finger to DC, you know, for neglecting PvP community, the villain faction community, you know, for the longest period of time when they was trying to voice their opinions and be heard, but they wasn't hearing it. So that ship has sailed. But when you have those veterans that, you know, used to, you know, grind those skill points and stuff like that, they didn't see any use or any need for them. A lot of those players are gone. So the cons with this update, in my opinion, is going to be a lot of the new players who came into the game that never did grind skill points, you know, who's been really relying heavily on the exploitation and the brokenness of the game. Basically, your progression was just get your CR high, and that was it. You know, switch to the OP power, the power that hits the hardest, and have a, you know, keep getting the gears so your CR stays high. Then you're able to compete, you know, in in-game content and be competitive. When you make the switch all of a sudden, and your game is majority of these newer players, you know, when the game dropped on Xbox, when you merged PC and PlayStation, which is the smartest thing they've done so far. It's the only reason why the game is still alive at this point, on the villain side at least. When you do this drastic change for those newer players, they're gonna have to go back and grind all that old content and stuff. It's gonna be hard to find people to run that with them. So that's the con with this. Now the pro with this is for the older players and the players who have been farming their skill points. They're gonna love it. And I do see this update, if they do it correctly, bringing back some of the OGs. Not a lot. Like I said, a lot of people are never coming back to this game because of that neglect and that constant heartbreak for the last 3.5 years. But yeah, it is nice to see that them finally listening to their community for this is the first time they've done this in a long time. I don't know what's that Jeans Anderson dude, Spit or whatever. I don't know if he's still with DCU or not, but there was another dude that they had on their live stream, and he was talking about it. You know, he was making the changes. He was saying basically what I was saying in my previous videos. For all of my people who've been subscribed for me over the last few years, if you remember my older videos, I kept on saying there's a huge gap in damage between damage roles and support roles, DPS and support roles. And that's why everyone wants to be a DPS, because you can one shot as a DPS, but as a support role, you put out literally no damage, and you can't out heal that damage. You can't give enough power to keep it powered up through that amount of damage. You can't tank, you can't block or mitigate that amount of damage that DPS can do. It was just a supreme role. This guy was saying that. I was like, wait, what? That was the only reason why I even wanted to drop by the game and see how this next update is going to go, because with that guy, they're moving in the right direction with him, because he sees it. he hit the problem right on the nail. Like he nailed it. So yeah, I'm just really curious to see how this goes. I'm hoping for the best for the game. I'm going to be back as a casual player, probably mostly PvE. I will still be PvPing because it is so fun. I've been able to, I guess, get the hang of things again, and been able to hold my own in PvP again in the old gear. No need to even farm the newer gear, because it's one CR and the difference isn't really noticeable. So yeah, so that's just my 2 cents or whatever about the next update. I can see it doing a lot of good. It'll do a lot more bad than good at this point, unless they find a way to get people more actively involved and engaged in getting these skill points. Because a lot of the newer players, that's pretty overwhelming. You telling somebody with 60 or 70 skill points that in order to compete, if there's the OGs that are still around that have 260 skill points or whatever, you're gonna have to get another 200 skill points to catch up to them. That's like, whoa. Yeah, anybody who's farmed skill points know that it's very tedious. It's not the most fun thing in the world to do. Getting 50 skill points, it's like, all right. Getting 100, that's a lot. Like that's like, whew, okay. But telling someone to get 200 skill points in a short amount of time, if you got a job, if you're in school, if you know, well, the summertime's coming up soon, so all the kids are in school, college, and high school, whatever. But if you got a job, or if you got real life obligations, yeah, you're not getting 200 skill points in a matter of 2 or 3 months. I'm sorry. So, but anyways, this is the direction the game should have been going in. I think that this update is like 2 years past due. If they would have did this in late 2014, early 2015, I think the population on this game would be twice as high as it is right now. Them dropping it on Xbox really did boost the numbers up and rekindle the flame in it, so to speak, for the Xbox users. PvP server on the villain side faction is pretty empty for the most part, except for at night times. But PvE is popping. You know, PvE server, it's a lot of people in there during the day and the night, so that's good that, you know, they still have those players that are actively engaged in PvP. They're those legendary subscribers or whatever. So, anyways, that's just my 2 cents. I know I've talked a little longer than I said I was. Just was really curious about this next update. Again, thanks to the subscribers and the friends and the players that's been playing this game for a while back. You know, when I came back, oh, Force, man, how's it going, bro? I ain't see you posted to YouTube in a while. Or, hey, how's it been? You know, and a couple of league members that are still active. Yo, the league is finally dead after 5 years. It's, was it 1,700 days old? Oh, man. So a lot has changed and a lot is still the same. Still same old DCUO. But yeah, it's refreshing to be back, so to speak. Just really looking forward to looking at this next update and seeing how it goes and the direction the DCUO goes. I feel like it's still in the last of its days, but I would like to see it, you know, really go back to the fun days before they shut it down. You know, I really want this game to go back to its golden days, and I'm hoping this new UI and this new skill points revamp thing is what does it. Alright, again guys, thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like. If you have your own opinions that you want to drop down in the comments below, go ahead and do that. And then until next time, I won't be doing a lot of videos, but I may do a couple more. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Alright, I'm out.